Let's really talk about the new Masters of the Universe movie. I grew up watching the Filmation cartoon. I was obsessed with it. It played an outsized role in my life and still affects me, honestly, to this day. I used to play with all of the He-Man action figures and more. I had a lot of anticipation for this movie, and it's one of those movies that I genuinely look forward to watching back because there are some scenes that I need to see again. There were moments in this movie that were big hits for me, and then other moments that were misses. And I want to break down both. Warning, I'm going to give heavy spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, swipe up. But if you have, or you don't care about hearing spoilers, let's dig in. First, the hits. The main characters overall, their vibe was so on point from the original Filmation series. Man-at-Arms in particular, there was a fight sequence fairly early on against Trapjaw that really showcased who and what Man-at-Arms is all about. His abilities, his confidence, his ingenuity. It was awesome. Next hit is Skeletor. Look, I know there were concerns about Jared Leto playing him. Not an issue whatsoever. The character had the right notes between the villainous aspects of him and sort of the whimsical, comical aspects of him in a way that felt like a completely cohesive character, and it was really well done. The next hit for me was getting to see the full transformation of He-Man. This was my dream as a kid, to raise my magic sword and say, by the power of Grayskull. Another hit, the Sorceress has always been one of my favorite Masters of the Universe characters. She is incredibly confident, incredibly powerful. I loved two scenes in particular with her in this movie. One scene where she is inside Castle Grayskull, stopping Skeletor and his henchmen from trying to get the power sword, and she does the classic Sorceress move where she raises her arms and creates a force field. In that moment in the movie theater, I did one of these and I think yelled out, yes, that's a scene I have to see again. The next scene with the Sorceress was something that would happen a lot in the original Filmation series, where the Sorceress would often talk telepathically with He-Man and Man-at-Arms. In this particular scene in the movie, when Prince Adam was trying to transform for the first time, she is guiding him telepathically. Say the words, by the power of Grayskull. And it reminded me of the Secret of the Sword movie, where the Sorceress is coaching Princess Adora for the first time to transform into She-Ra by saying, for the honor of Grayskull. Major goosebumps. I might have teared up a little bit. The last major hit for me is, of course, the end credits scene where we get to see Princess Adora transform into She-Ra. And it's beyond just a tease. There's enough shown that is pulled right from the original Filmation series. I really hope that this movie can be successful enough to be able to get the sequel so we can see this come to life more. I'm going to move on to the misses, the things in the movie that just missed the mark for me. The first thing is Eternia's mysticism and magic did not get conveyed in this movie. That includes Castle Grayskull. In the original Filmation series, there were some way out things that were going on that just gave it such dramatic intrigue. That just did not happen in this movie. I did not like that Castle Grayskull was so accessible to the royal palace simply from a bridge. Castle Grayskull, for me, is supposed to be something that is in the distance, completely mysterious. None of that was shown or conveyed in the motion picture. The biggest miss for me was not getting to see Cringer transform into Battle Cat. I don't understand why that was left out of the movie. We got to see Prince Adam transform twice, and the second time towards the end of the movie, it was foreshadowed by Cringer that he wanted to be wearing armor. So I thought it was a no-brainer. During the second transformation, He-Man, after he says, "I have the power," would point his sword at Cringer, and we'd get the payoff of getting to see him transform into the mighty Battle Cat. Never happened. Major miss. Probably one of the biggest misses for me. Next miss, this one's going to be a little controversial. There wasn't enough differences between Prince Adam and He-Man. I'm fine, given the original Filmation series, that Prince Adam and He-Man look a lot alike, except He-Man has a tan. But in the Filmation series, He-Man also had a different personality. He had a deeper voice. He had more confidence. There was a transformation into a different character. Also, and here's the piece that I think is going to be a bit more controversial, I like in superhero genre content the whole notion of secret identities. I think it just brings a bit more of a dramatic flair, a bit of a mystery to the moment. I'm not a fan that in this movie everyone knows He-Man is Prince Adam. In fact, he doesn't even go by the name He-Man. It was revealed in the movie that Adam, as a young kid, made up the names for all of the major characters. That gets back to my earlier point. The mystery, the mysticism in this film is just too grounded in Earth reality. Two more misses. There were absolutely no surprises watching the movie from having seen all the trailer content and all of the bonus content that was released by MGM across their various social media platforms. Now, normally, for people who know me, know that I never watch the movie trailers of movies I'm really looking forward to. In fact, I will at times, if I'm watching a movie and a trailer comes on, I will leave to use the restroom, or I will sit and block my ears and close my eyes because I just don't want my expectations set. I don't want to be set up for disappointment. I like the surprise and delight. I, for whatever reason on this movie, consumed every piece of content possible. This is a movie that I've been waiting for decades, since the 1980s live action movie was an extreme disappointment because it was in no way like the Filmation series. What I knew, what I believed in, what I trusted, what I had hoped is that there was going to be a number of things that were left out of the teaser content to be surprised by in the actual movie. That just wasn't the case for me. What I felt like is the movie simply stitched together disparate teaser content in a semi-coherent way. I'll come back to that later though. It was enjoyable, but I just wasn't surprised by anything. I wanted more. So that was just a big miss. Lastly, what I also felt was a miss, and it's more of just a general note, is that there was a tone balance issue, something having to do with the editing itself. There were way too many, for whatever reason, fisting jokes. Why, after the first time that they made that joke, that they had to keep making it at least 3 times in the movie. They also made the Ram Man joke twice, where Prince Adam says, "You're a man and you ram." Why do you have to include that twice in the movie? There was also something I was just confused by. It was imperative that Prince Adam got the sword from Castle Grayskull before he went through the portal to Earth. He must keep the sword and protect the sword. But then at the end of the movie, it was revealed, similar to what happened in the Netflix Revelation and Revolution series, that Adam doesn't really need the sword. Or does he? I couldn't figure that part out. I understand that the sorceress chose him, which I really liked. Quick tangent. I was so happy. Skeletor, when he had the power sword, he was not able to transform or gain the power of Grayskull in Revelation on Netflix. It bothered me to my bones, pun intended, that anybody with the power sword could transform. That just doesn't make it special. So I was happy that the movie honored the notion that Prince Adam was the chosen one, but I was totally confused. Does he need the sword or doesn't he need the sword? Or just does he need a piece of the sword? So if anyone can clarify that for me, that would be awesome. Here's the deal. I know I talked about a lot of my gripes with the movie. It is absolutely worth seeing. It is entertaining. It's one of those movies where I kind of want to go back to the movie theater. I don't want to wait for it to come out on, I'm assuming, Prime Video. There are certain scenes that I have to see again because those are the pieces that make me so happy about the movie. But unlike the 2002 Cartoon Network revival, which was in my opinion, a better version of the original Filmation series, this movie's not that. It gives nods to the Filmation series, but it's a different story. It's a different tone. That's not to say that the movie's not entertaining. It is. I really hope that there is a sequel to this so we can explore some of the characters in more depth and we can absolutely see Princess Adora and She-Ra. I need to see that. So those are just some of my thoughts. I know I missed a lot. Ask me questions in the comments and I want to hear what you thought about the new Masters of the Universe movie.